Hey everyone. Um, so I've decided to actually film during the daytime for once. Never really thought about that. It's always just a little bit more quiet around here at night, so um, I never really thought about how much it would affect the ambient lighting. So I did it, and for once, yes, I still have a potato cam. I realize that, but it looks a little bit better when you do it with sort of a room of flooded light. So decided to try something new. I have a review for you today. I'm actually going to film one of them and release one of them today, and then maybe one next week sometime. I wanted to talk about something that gets a little bit of attention, maybe one of the 4, 6, 8 Atelier Cologne releases that get a little bit of talk when it's warmer outside, since it's one of we are in the grasping sort of pangs of summer. The one that I want to talk to you about is Cedrat Enivrant by Atelier Cologne. Here's a 30 ml bottle, 1 ounce. Cedrat Enivrant is French for intoxicating citron. It's a citrus aromatic fragrance, unsurprisingly, very much like many others in the Atelier line, at least the more popular ones. It contains notes of cedrat, lime, bergamot, middle notes of mint, basil, and juniper, and base notes of tonka, vetiver, elemi, and it was released just 4 years ago in 2013. So I've seen probably half a dozen reviews of this in the fragrance community, and most of them are, let's just say, by 18-year-old boys or reviewers aiming to target the 18-year-old boy market, who describe this as having a mojito vibe. So those teenaged boy wonder reviewers who tell you that it has the mojito vibe, bro, have never tasted, let alone smelled, a mojito. It is, however, kind of reminiscent of a cocktail, which I'm sure they've also never tried, called a French 45, which is made with champagne, lemon juice, and gin. In fact, it's much closer to that, but whatever. In fact, if you add a few sprigs of mint to a French 45, you basically have this smell, since mint is a little bit dominant here. Cedrat Enivrant is one more in sort of the line of classical European eau de clones, even though Atelier Cologne likes to think that it's more like an eau de parfum, since they concentrate their perfumes at 15%. I don't think you'd really think so, or think that because of its performance. Let's just say that much. It opens up with a really nice floral lime and citron. Citron being another citrus fruit, has nothing to do with just the general word citrus, although it is a citrus fruit. It's not a lime, it's not a lemon, it's not yuzu or bergamot. It's another fruit unto its own. And it's a little bit sort of sharp and eye-opening and a little bit bracing on the top. There's this sort of aldehydic bubbly quality that you get kind of like with the champagne from a French 45. After drying down for a few minutes, this sort of cooling mint and basil combination comes to the front, which gives a nice green herbal lift to the entire thing. It ends like most citruses do, with sort of a generic cedary, woody base. And to my nose, kind of a little bit of a clean white musk, which lends the general idea of probably for lasting power, I'm guessing, but kind of adds just sort of that clean effect. I almost wanted to say laundry detergent, but it smells a lot better than that. The presence of lime and mint will, I guess, inevitably invite a comparison to a mojito, since apparently anything that smells like smoke and pineapple must be an Aventus clone, so anything that smells like lime and mint must be echoing a mojito on purpose. But I don't really find the comparison. There's a little bit of juniper here too, just like there is in a French 45. But it's not the overwhelming pine sappy juniper that you might smell in other things. It's pretty subtle. It's there for the greenness, and it's in the background, definitely. It sort of this thing, more than anything else, I think it smells like a better version of Guerlain Homme Intense. Due to that sort of citrus effect, the lime, the mint, and everything. They do have quite a bit of the vetiver as well. Except that I think Cedrat Enivrant is done much better, and it smells much more natural, whereas the Guerlain sort of smells like a synthetic mess. Not to say that everything that's synthetic is a mess, but the Guerlain does smell a bit synthetic. Projection, it's modest. Longevity is better in warmer weather than in moderate weather, but it is a citrus, so what are you going to expect? The few dozen times that I've worn it, I regularly get 4 to 6 hours with it, so that's okay. I'm happy with that for any kind of fragrance, especially with a citrus one. Of the few Atelier fragrances that I've tried, and I've only tried this, Pomelo Paradis, and Orange Sanguine, I think this is by far the best performing for me. One of the things that sort of frustrates me, like I touched on earlier, was that Atelier advertises Cedrat Enivrant as a pure perfume. Now, I don't know if that's supposed to be the same thing as a pure parfum, which it most certainly is not at 15%. While the presentation, calling it pure perfume is it's certainly not an eau de cologne, I guess, at 15%, since that would be more like it, 3 or 4%. It's a little bit misleading to call this a pure perfume, since that's usually a lot higher than 15% concentration. I don't know why, that just sort of gets on my nerves. Doesn't really make sense to call it that. And especially when you're wearing something in the high heat that's mostly citrus and basil and a little bit of aldehyde. I mean, that's not a fragrance you want to wear in a pure parfum concentration anyway. So why would you advertise it that way? Whatever. Whereas most designer fragrances of this type smell synthetic and cheap, like the Guerlain I mentioned earlier, this smells like it's natural and of high quality. I was so lucky as to get this. I got it full, by the way, so you can see how much I wore this summer. It's not a huge bottle, it's only 30 ml. But I was lucky to get this bottle for around $28. So I just sort of slipped it in my travel bag and used it liberally throughout the summer. Like I said, the ingredients, the quality, they smell good. They smell quite good. The lime and the citron are sort of photorealistically bright and zingy and fresh. The mint is obviously not a synthetic mint note. It smells real. I guess it could be synthetic, but it smells good. Of course, like I said, it might contain synthetics, but that's not the overall olfactory impression you get when you smell some of these, I guess, less expensive, designer-driven versions of this. I don't think the retail asking price of $75 for a 30 mil is exorbitant. It's $130 for 100 mil and $195 for 200 mil. I'm struggling to think of anything in this perfume genre that's as realistic as this for that kind of price, which would be, if you order one of the bigger sizes, it's kind of on the order of $1 a mil, which as a per mil price is kind of what you pay for a lot of designers these days. So if you're going to use it and use it liberally, why not go for it? Anyway, I really enjoy this. I think I'm going to spray some on right now, actually. Say goodbye to summer with me. It's Cedrat Enivrant by Atelier Cologne. Go get intoxicated on some citron. Bye guys. Talk to you later.